Uh-oh, it's smoking. There, fixed it. Hello viewers, good day to you and welcome back. Glad you guys are here. We are returning to the part 2 of this 3.6 liter Pentastar V6, which is located in a 2017 Chrysler. I think this thing's a Pacifica front wheel drive version, not rear wheel drive. I don't have the mileage right now because the key's off, and I'm not going to key it back on with everything disconnected, so we're just going to have to wait till the end to see what the mileage is. Anyway, we left off in the last video. This is a part 2 video. You can see the description or the pinned comment for the part 1, or this link right up here in the upper right hand corner, and it'll take you back to the first version of this this particular repair if you happen to have missed it. Anyway, we left off because I had ordered a replacement engine oil cooler assembly, which is located down inside of this engine valley, right down here underneath of that ginormous intake manifold system that's going on over there on the floor. We had earlier discussed the quality of the plastics that were used in the construction of this extremely critical engine component. And we can see here, this is I think it's nylon impregnated reinforced plastic, and these things are known leakers. From what we have gathered so far in this particular vehicle, this right here is the second time that this unit has been replaced. We've got the oil filter housing here, we've got the cooler fin radiator type device unit here, and then you've got the plastic base plate. And this right here at the gaskets is where these failures will occur. So it's clearly observable that these rubber gaskets will compress over time. That's part of the issue, and that's something that's unavoidable. But the issue, the real problem is, for example, if we take a look right here at this gasket, we can see how it's deformed slightly. See right there on the side, the right hand side, it kind of bulges out. What happens here is these plastics will deform, and it allows those gaskets to deform slightly, and then we end up with a coolant / engine oil slurry that mixes and pools up inside of the engine valley right there. If we look a little closer, even though I've cleaned this off, we can see where the water line was on this unit. So what'll happen is this thing will leak, it'll fill this whole valley up full of oil and coolant, it'll take out the knock sensors, it'll take out this hose, it'll get inside of the wiring harness, and ultimately, if left unchecked, you'll run out of engine oil or run out of engine coolant, and then the thing overheats and then leaves you on a tow truck, and that's not good. Now, the problem was, and the reason we didn't finish this all in one get-go, is I had ordered an upgraded and updated component that's designed to prevent this exact failure from reoccurring and reoccurring and reoccurring. However, when I unboxed the unit, I found out on the other, this is the new one, but I found out on the one we had ordered previously that somebody had packaged the defective style component inside of the upgraded style box and then sold that box for a premium. So I had to go back to the parts store, get a new component, and now we are ready, fresh on the next day, ready to get going and get this thing back together. So I had selected, it's actually a Dorman part that supplies the fix for this, but it's Dorman part number 926959. This is the updated component, which is the all aluminum base plate, again with its aluminum cooler assembly. Came with gaskets, came with new hardware, came with a new engine oil filter, came with that little plug right there, we're gonna need that. Came with a desiccant pack. Put these things inside of your toolbox or inside of your safe. They will absorb moisture and prevent corrosion. Just throw that guy right in there. Those things are also fantastic to go inside of ammo boxes. Anyways, let's get everything unboxed here and laid out and make sure we've got everything that we need to proceed. Need to proceed, I rhymed. And I think there's a slight transfer over of components from this old unit. I think we just have to switch out the this temperature sensor right here and we're good to go. So let me get all this stuff unwrapped and we're gonna go ahead and get this component installed on that truck. We'll get this thing back together and back out on the road. So stay tuned because this is going to be a very good video. Alrighty, so we're back. I've got everything unpackaged to save us a little bit of time. A quick moment of shameless self-promotion, and I'm asking a favor from you guys. If you would, please check to see if you are in fact subscribed to the channel if you thought you were. YouTube is doing its unsubscribe thing again, and longtime viewers have found that they are not receiving notifications, or they're no longer even subscribed to the channel. That being said, the part 2 of this is if you happen to know somebody with a 3.6 liter in a Jeep, Chrysler, Volkswagen, and oh, who else made this little conglomeration? Mostly Jeep, Chrysler, and Volkswagen. If you know some, oh, Ram, yeah, there's Ram. If you know anybody with this engine, share this video with them because they may need to know about this component. This has not widely been accepted by the shops yet because this one does cost more than that one. But the issue is this is so failure prone that throughout the life of the vehicle, the owners of these are going to have to replace these 2, 3, maybe even 4 times before they finally get rid of it out of frustration. So this is the problem solver for this Achilles heel on this engine. There's millions of them out there. So if you know someone with this engine and care about their livelihood and their financial situation, please send them this video so that they know that there is a fix for this and it's not the end of the world. And that will conclude my moment of shameless self-promotion. Now, let's go ahead and get started. I mentioned earlier we have to conduct a transfer of components, and it's probably just going to be this temperature sensor over here. So let's go ahead and pull this guy out real quick and get it installed on our new unit. Okay, so we're gonna take a 1 1/16 inch wrench and kind of get this in a position where I can put some torque on it. That'll do. Let's get this thing removed here. Okay, I thought I was good at my job and I'm getting my butt kicked by a sensor. Seriously? It turned and then it no longer turned. There we go. Got it. Turn it more. So what I want to do, get this thing swapped over and then we'll put the cooler on the manifold. Get it gasketed up and we can drop that back down inside of our engine compartment. You know, I should probably know what I'm talking about before I start talking. I found engine oil inside of this, which tells me this is probably the oil pressure sender, not a coolant temp sensor. So don't re-out on me. I just went off of an assumption, and you know what assumptions do? They make an assumer out of you and me. So I have made myself into an assumer. But I believe since I corrected the record, I can get away with this. So in my re-estimated opinion, my light is dying. This is a oil pressure sender, not coolant. So anyway, let's get this thing screwed down and snugged up. I did throw a little bit of Teflon tape on those threads because it had that red sealant, and that red sealant is no longer present. And I know you're gonna say Teflon tape's not a sealant, and you're right, kinda, but it's better than sticking it in there dry. Now, on things like sensors, they tend to have a tapered set of threads. On some, this one did not appear so, but that does not mean we tighten this down all the way. We just get it run up until we're confident that a seal is going to be made and that it's not going to back its way out and or leak, and that's where it's going to live. So I'm going to give another 90 degrees out of this so the clip side is facing up for the sensor, and we should be good right there. Non-click. Okay, quick battery change on the flashlight. We're good to go. Let's go ahead and get the cooler section installed on top of the manifold. So we're going to break out some new hardware here. There are fasteners. I believe these are Torx 30s. That's what they're going to be. So we need those, and we're going to need the gaskets here, 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 and here. Oh. These are the ones, shapes and colors. We just fit those guys right down inside of those little holes there. Make sure there's no debris and packing material inside of this cooler. See in there? You could get like a little styrofoam packing material inside of it, and that would cause contamination, which would not be good. Okay, Torx 30 coming into place here, and I'm going to give these a little bit of Loctite because this thing should never, ever, ever have to be removed ever again. Ever. So I see no harm in sticking some Loctite on it. Again, it houses engine oil and it's a critical component, so we don't want to mess around and run the risk of having this come apart. The aluminum, whoa, I'm dropping stuff. Okay, let's run these down just a wee little bit. We're looking for 4.6 milliseconds of torquing. Let's go ahead and get the remainder in there. There, just drop some in the hole. We'll do that. That works too. I liked my first way better. There. Too much. It's fine. Okay, our cooler's tight. Let's apply a couple more milliseconds of torque clickage. Very good. So now we should be preparing the bottom gasket surfaces. So we've got a couple regular gaskets here, and then we have this O-ring. The O-ring is going to go around this little nipple right there, and that's going to fit down into a recess in the block. So I'm going to give that just a wee bit of dielectric, so when we send it on its way down, it's lubricated. And this one is empty. Oh no, another! I couldn't help myself. Ah, that was too much. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Oh, this isn't working out. Anyway, a little bit of lubricant on that O-ring. There we go. That way it can slide down inside of its hole very easily without binding up. And then the remainder of these gaskets, they just fit into their grooves here. Shapes and colors. Just stick it where it fits. Don't force it. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. Those are the rules. And no lubrication necessary on the rest of these because they're going to sandwich flat against the block surface. So we saw earlier that there's this little plug thing right here. That is a blank that is supposed to go right there inside of that hole. So let's get that thing filled up next. If we compare it to the old unit, there is nothing in that hole. So let's go ahead and plug this guy off. We'll tighten her down. Looks like a Torx or it's an M8, maybe an 8 or a 10. I don't know, my micrometer's not working today. We're gonna find out. I said M8, it's an H8. That is the designation. It's a hex bit, an Allen key of sorts. Just go ahead and take this guy and tighten her down. It should be sealing all by itself due to that little bit of red business on there. It's not a sealant, it's a lubricant. I mean, maybe. Might be a sealant. Click. Okay, that one's good. So now, while we're here, we can go ahead and get the oil filter down in position. So I'll just lube the O-rings ever so slightly. And I'm missing the O-ring on the oil cap. I have to install that as well. Some assembly is required. Make sure this goes in the correct groove. If it's not in the right groove, you might be in for an issue or a problem. This is coming out way too fast. Need to work on that. the expulsion of the lubricant is slightly premature. Click that guy in. And we'll go ahead and screw it down. Now what we're not going to do is torque the bejesus out of this, because the tightness of this cap has nothing to do with its ability to seal against the housing. That's all taken care of by the O-ring. That applies to everything with an O-ring. All caps with O-rings do not impact these things on. It even says torque to 25 Newton meters. That is the torque specification. Hey, you know what? Just for fun, let's just actually torque this. I don't see why not. My wrench was out, and I have the adapter, and I have a socket. Let's just apply actual clicks to an oil filter cap. There we go. It's tight. Look at that. See? Nothing. Okay, enough screwing around. This thing's all prepped up. Let's go ahead and get it over to our engine and get this thing set back down in its home and begin the reassembly process. Okay, filter assembly, you're coming with me. Now, we already took a look down inside of this this valley here, and I know it doesn't look like it, but I have made an effort to clean this out. I did some wiping, I cleaned off the sealing surfaces. The issue is I don't want to go super aggressive on it, because there are oil return ports in here, and if I start filling this thing up full of water and brushing and churning up all that slurry and whatnot, there's potential that I can contaminate the clean side of the engine oil system, and that will ultimately smoke the bearings in this thing. So rather than risking blowing up engine parts, because we've seen that before on these 3.6s as well, I cleaned it up as least invasively as I could. There's no more stuff pooling up. I know it looks ugly, but that's as clean as it's gonna get. Yeah, there appears to be many new viewers to the content lately, and they're assuming that everything I do is wrong. That's how I know that there's new people around, because I catch a lot of extra and they get angry with me because I didn't do it the way they wanted to do it. And truth be told, everybody does things a little bit differently. That's just how it is. You know, some people might spend an hour cleaning that out. They'll cap it off and go in there with toothbrushes and some Q-tips. Some people won't even clean it out at all. They'll just put the new cooler back on with a bunch of oil pooled up in there. But that's not me. I'm not going to do that. Not my style. Now, one thing I just noticed, that thing bottomed out. This tells me I don't have this cooler seated down all the way. Give it a kind of a wiggle here. Still isn't going. Hammer time. We shall lightly mallet this unit down. Well, I think that's it. Why are my fasteners not engaging? What is problem? Yeah, that thing's not. That's that O-ring we were talking about earlier. It's not seating inside of the groove. Maybe if I pull it a little straighter. It was kind of at an angle. Perhaps that was it. Okay, yep. Now these fasteners are contacting the bottom. Good. And then there's one way out back. There we go. Drop that one down. Let's begin to apply some torque here. See how it's rocking? It still is not seated fully. We'll get there. still compressing the O-rings. There we go. Okay, so now these guys are all bottomed out. This thing is fully seated. I'm going to back off all these fasteners and then torque them to specified specifications. Look, see it come up? Those were those O-rings expanding again. There we go. And we are looking for 106 inch-pounds of torque. I know. I'll make this easier on myself and use a longer extension. That way I've got some good swing on it. Boom. Now that that's out of the way, let's get our coolant bypass hose stuck back onto this cooler. Squeeze, that's a real tight squeeze down in there. That's good. Now we'll get the connector reconnected. Slide that guy over the sensor. Good to go. Okay, let's get back on cleanup duty here. We'll blow these bolt holes out. Make sure there's no fluid in them, or dirt, or sealant. Missed one. Okay, that's good. Let's get some cleaning oil solution here. It's just penetrating oil. But oil is a great cleaner. So we'll get some oil on this gasket face. Kind of wipe that down some. We'll knock off all the stuff that could cause a leak. A bunch of carbon buildup here. Right, nice and shiny-ish. So now let's go ahead and kind of work on cleaning out these valves a little bit, because there was some debris, or intake runners rather, there was some debris that made its way down inside of those holes. And cleaning those out is real simple. Stick an air nozzle in there, blow it out. And now the debris is gone. Moving on. Okay, that's the back side. Same procedure on the front side here. Beautiful, nice and shiny-ish, not really, because that's all carboned up intake runners. But there's no dirt and debris floating around inside of there, so we're good to go. We are now progressing quite nicely. Got the lower intake manifold coming into position. See, all the bolts are still in the manifold. They do not come out very easily. I've got new gaskets on the bottom side and on the top side. So let's get this thing down into its home. And we'll start getting some fasteners fastened. All right, home stretch time. I'm gonna go ahead and run these down with some speed. Just get everybody nice and started here. This is that one that was super tight when we started. I think the threads are a little boogered up on that one. They didn't look like it, but I think they are. Okay. All right, we're looking for 80 inch-pounds on the clicky wrench. So let's get these guys torqued to specified specifications here. Now, unfortunately, this one here, I think we're gonna have to go, that one, not this one. We're gonna have to go past 80 inch-pounds because there's a lot of friction on those threads. And if we just let it click at the 80 inch-pound mark, I don't think that it's going to be tightened down all the way. And I can feel that friction right here. So I'm gonna do like 80 inch-pounds plus like an eighth of a turn or whatever. I can feel it. Not so much seeing it or hearing it and clicking on it, but I think I'll be able to feel it. So there's our 80. Let's compare. Oh, look at how that one turned also a little bit more. I'm gonna do 2 passes on this. How about, yeah, that feels good. So that one might be slightly over torqued. I'll live with it. And it might be slightly under torqued. But again, due to that friction, we do not know. And we never will know. Oh, I missed one. I missed a fastener. This one right here. Somebody commented on a video, they were asking, why do I call them fasteners when they are, in fact, nuts and bolts? And that is because nuts and bolts are, in fact, fasteners. So all nuts and bolts are a fastener, but not all fasteners are nuts and bolts. But if you just call them all fasteners, then you are correct. Because they are, and they fasten. That's what they do. Second pass. Got one over here on the left. Sweet, that one's all set. And now we can go ahead and start getting some wiring harness back in position here. I'll start with the fuel injector connectors. That's cylinder 5, cylinder 3, cylinder numero 1, and little red tabs are down. Now we need to put this injector harness rail assembly here back inside of its little tabs that secure it, like so. And then the coil wires are coming in next. Lock that one in. Lock that one in. It's good. Get that guy. Little sensor connector right here. And then there's a couple sensors that I disconnected on the front of the head, the front of the valve cover rather. Put those guys in. Good, good, good. Everybody's looking good in the neighborhood. Let's do the front bank next. Same procedure. Injector connectors. That's number 6. Number 4. And numero 2. I put plugs and wires, or plugs and coils in this when you guys weren't looking to see the shiny. Good little add-on to do while the intake is off. And I took out some Champion spark plugs too. These are gross. Look at that, Champions. Pretty worn out too. They've been there for a while. There we go. It's all good in the neighborhood. How about the fuel line? Let's get that fuel line back in. And our little blue locking clip. Excellent. Do we remember that PCV hose fitting thing that I broke off on the first video on the teardown phase? That's that guy right there. I broke it off. Didn't mean to, but it happened. I saved a lot of the old parts from the last one of these that I worked on that blew up, and we put an engine in it, and I happen to have that exact same PCV valve. So I lucked out on that one. I'll just install some used parts here and not have to worry about it. Put that guy in, pull it back, lock it in. It's like it never happened. Woohoo! So next up, we have the upper intake manifold coming in. It does not get new gaskets on it because those are already in place over here on the lower. So what we do, just bring it right on in, aligning the bolt holes. That one's good, that one's good. And this thing is now located in its correct position. Let's get all these sort of started by hand. That way we know they're not going in sideways. Drop that one down. There's another one off to the right here. Good. And we'll use the electron ratchet, slowly run these down. That way I can feel them. That wasn't slow. Not all the way down. Just partially, because I need some flex in order to line up the bolts on the front brackets over here. And I choose to do that right now. That way they're in. I think I got it. Yep, there's one. I need one here for this coolant line bracket. I know you guys can't see. You know how it is. A lot of this stuff is done by feelings, not by seeing. Another one, I think it's right here in the front of that bracket. Yep. Okay, that guy's started. Thought I had another one somewhere. Yeah, I do. Right next to it, there's another hole. That one goes also into this this intake. So I need to figure out where I left my low profile ratchet. There it is. That's what I need. Flip that back around through tightening sequence. We'll go in here and get these guys snugged down. Actually, negative. I need to get these units tightened down first. Because these are where the seals are. But you have to get these in first, or before you tighten these, because if you tighten these, it can actually get this thing a little off center or at a different angle, and then you won't be able to line up the holes on the bolts in the front. And that's how brackets get left disconnected. We just don't want to do that. We talk too much. There we go. And I think we're looking for 89 inch-pounds on these fasteners here. Torque wrench. What did I do with my torque wrench? There's my 8. There it is. All right, found you. Hidden right in front of me. Okay, 89 inch-pounds. So let's go ahead and adjust this up. I'm gonna do 90, just because I want to. Couldn't hurt. Uh-oh, I've gone too far. Let's just back them off and then tighten them up. You know, some would say you're not supposed to operate a torque wrench in reverse. And I've always been told that, but you'll notice that these are adjustable, so, or reversible rather. So what do you guys think? Should you use a torque wrench in reverse or only going forward, or does it not matter? Or does it matter with the style of torque wrench that you're using? That could be a factor. For example, there's a beam torque wrench versus the spring-loaded torque wrenches. Here we go. Look at this. Classic example of why a torque wrench is not always the exact perfect correct tool. So we're at spec here, right? 89. We saw that click, but look, this thing is not seated all the way. See that? Which means 89 is not putting any clamping force on this intake. How about that? So I'm gonna do it by feel rather than by clicks. Had I relied solely on just that torque wrench, this fastener especially would have almost no clamping force. There we go. So we're gonna up the torque a little bit. Now, why is that, you may ask? And that is because these fasteners they're kind of like a wood screw. They're actually running down into the plastic on that lower manifold. And because of that, they're not threaded like you would typically find on a traditional bolt. And look here, perfect example. You see how those are coarse grade type of threads, and then you've got for your nut on this side a very fine grade thread. Well, what's happening inside of the female end, the plastic, on this particular style is a lot of inconsistencies in those threads. There's little shavings that come off, or maybe it was double threaded one time, like cross threaded. There's a multitude of variables that do not go accounted for when the original torque spec is written up. There we go. And since this is the third or fourth time this has been apart, you really don't know. So sometimes the proper tool is not exactly the proper tool. And that bolt right there, in my opinion, proved it. Okay, now we can get to these 10 mil bolts up here in the front, because we know that this manifold is now sealing how it's supposed to against the lower manifold. Get some speed in there. More horsepowers. Click. That's two. Got two more behind our dipping stick here. I'll just go ahead and spin those down with my flanges. Those are fingers for the new people here. And I hope to see some new people here. I like it when new people come in. It's good. It's like we get to start the whole party all over again. That's tight. That's not tight. Change our angle here of the ratchet. Do 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 click do 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 do. All right, now we have more plumbing to connect. Let's get got a fuel. No, that's a vacuum line going back to somewhere, but I know it goes here. Put that guy on. Lock it in. That's good. It's gonna clip into the back of the manifold in two places. That will secure it. This is good. And what are we lacking here? Got some wires, got a pump motor thing, but I need to get down in that hole and get this little bracket set up. Now this bracket was a bear to dig out of there, and it took a lot of video time on the first video of this this repair, so we're just gonna skip that part, go into commercial break, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna put this on, then we're gonna continue with the easy to view reassembly. Okie dokes, we got through it. EGR is back on, clamps are back on, studs are back on, the wiring harness, y'all are upside down. Wiring harness is all back on and secured and connected properly. Now we may move on to the stuff that's more agreeable to the eyeballs. One of which will be our PCV hose. There's the broken end, so we know that that side goes in that hole over there. Let me get this thing extracted here. Let's see, I need pliers. Where's me pliers? Pliers, pliers. There's me pliers, right shot. So what I must do, I'll use the angular ones. Scratch my paint, there we go. Okay, got it out. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this thing back into its home. And I've learned that this side gets disconnected last and this side goes first, and it still doesn't want to go. There. Little locking tab to go in there. Kind of overkill for a PCV hose, but what else am I gonna do with them? Throw them away? I think not. There's that one. This one is impossible. I'm not putting that back on. Look at it. It comes up from the bottom. Yeah, no, that one. I'll put that one on the evap filter. Where is it? This one. Yeah, I'll put that on this. Speaking of which, let's get this thing set up and connected and in position as well. There's the port for the vacuum. That's the bracket, and there should be a wiring connector for it around here somewhere too. I think this is it. Yep, that's the connector. A couple grommets to secure the unit. Push those down. That's good. This hose clips into that little bracket right there. See that? Then this one connects here, which is where I will put that locking tab. That's what we're looking for. Uh-oh, failure. Wire routing problem. There's a little mount thing here for it, and that goes into that hole right there. Nice. Okay, this thing's gonna clip on right here. That's good. Now we just need to get the air box set up next. This should go in fairly easily. We've got one grommet, one bolt, and then just have a rubber like seal for the throttle body area. So we'll get the throttle body in first. Wiggle it. And on the back side, I gotta figure out where that grommet goes. I got it. Give it a push down. That's in position. There is our fastener. Bolt. Click. I couldn't help myself. So on the back side, we got one more wire, and that's going to go to this intake temperature sensor, which is located right there. Getting a little dark in here, but that's where she goes, plugged in. That's good right there. We're in the home stretch now. We've got a freshly cleaned out 1,000,000-mile K&N air filter. Drop that guy back into its home right here. We'll get the air box lid back in position. We've got some tabs here that fit into the grooves over yonder. Of course, the clamp and the hose, which that's probably gonna have to go on first. Slide that on there. Get in there, box. We've got two more of those nice coarsely threaded fasteners here. Get in there, box. What are we doing? We're off center. Nein, das ist nicht gut. Seriously, what are we doing? My box is not aligning properly. WTF? What's going on here? It's like off. What have I done? Yeah, we're not even. Well, we were in the home stretch until this decided to not fit. Why are we twisted? What's his problem? I was all excited to nearly be finished. It must not be seating properly. We'll shove that hose in a little deeper. What? Is the box default? Oh, I see what's happened here. This little lip was getting caught on the inside of that air box, the bottom section. I have a misalignment, so I'll push it in, then get the little tabs in. And now we're doing the same thing on the right hand side. I think the bottom section of this box is bulging out. That's what's going on here. Try that. There we go. Got it. Now it's fitting. Back on schedule. So, 2 more 8mm fasteners. Tripping at the finish line. Clicks. Twice clicks. Thrice clicks. Good. And got our little cold air scoop here. Slide that guy in. 2 grommets here and here that secure it to the radiator core support. Push those guys down. Let's get the rest of the tools off of the firewall. And we will get the engine cover in position here. This guy is also secured with some pegs and grommets. And it's supposed to have 2 fasteners. But when I took it apart, I only found 1. So I will see if I can't locate a replacement for that hole right there. Survey says I found an M6 threaded 10mm headed fastener. Oh, that's cool. Check it out. The one that I used, one that I found, it's got a Torx insert on the inside, 10mm. It actually might be a Pentastar piece. Look at that. Same part, less dirt. But nice. They don't match, and that's pretty gross. Let's clean that thing up. That didn't work. But I tried. So hard. Oh well. At least now it's nice and shiny. So what we need to do next, I'm gonna run this thing up in the air, spill the engine oil out of it, refill it. We already have a new filter in position right here. It calls for 20 weight oil, so we're gonna give this some good old AMS oil, and then we'll hit the key, restart this engine, check for leaks, and hopefully we're good to go. We can ship this thing today. Okay, down on the ground again. The oil has been removed. Let's grab our new engine oil here. Let's see, can of additive, that's going in there. And we got a couple jugs of 5 Winter 20 fully synthesized AMSOIL motor oil. And by the way, I don't gatekeep these things. As you guys know, since I do sell AMSOIL, I have enlisted to be an AMSOIL dealer, meaning I get to buy this stuff at wholesale. And because I get to buy this stuff at wholesale, I have listed my dealer link on my video descriptions. That way you guys can enjoy AMSOIL in your vehicle if you so choose. So if you don't want to try to hunt it down from the parts stores that don't sell it, or the retail stores that don't really sell it, go to my video's description below this video and you'll find an AMSOIL link down there. You can use my link to purchase your own AMSOIL. And full disclosure, since I am an AMSOIL dealer, if you buy your product from my link, I will get a small commission off of that product. And that will end my second moment of shameless self-promotion. If you guys are up for a third moment of shameless self-promotion, while you're down in this video's description, check out the link to RainmanRaysRepairs.com, and that can take you to my custom merchandise store where you can purchase one of my... Oh! I'm about to add oil spill mats to the list of things that I sell. I was gonna try to sell you one of my hats or a t-shirt or some stickers or something like that, but instead I might just rethink my life because I can't do 7 things at once. Come on. What have I done? I made a mess out of my nice and shiny. Someone's gonna yell at me for not being professional. Well, if you weren't too busy trying to sell us a bunch of crap, then you wouldn't have spilled that. Put down the camera and deal with your customers. Whee! No matter what you do, you just can't win. You know, I try to see the needs in the market for people and being in a position to be able to fulfill those needs, like clothing and engine oil. I try to help people out with that by offering recommendations and even producing premium top tier quality product. And then folks still get mad at me. I think they hate us because they ain't us. That's what it is. Remember that movie, The Interview? Thing about North Korea or whatever? They hate us because they ain't us. Look, contaminants. Get rid of that. Give it a go, wipe it down just in case there's unnoticed contaminants. There. Okay, anyway, 6 quarts, 5 winter 20 amps oil coming in. Glug, glug. Now again, we don't have to put a filter on this because it already has one, because that came with the oil cooler assembly. Oh, and by the way, if you buy this by the gallon as opposed to the quart, it's still cheaper. And if you buy it by the 5 gallon or the 2.5 gallon, it's even more cheaper. And if you really need a lot of oil, you buy it by the 55 gallon drum, and then it's super cheap. But I don't think anybody here needs 55 gallons of engine oil, so that one might be a bit of a stretch. See, look at that. High quality premium products. Even the foil on the top of the jug is robust. And strong foil. There we go. Let's account for what I spilled. Let's do a preliminary dipstick check to make sure this is either 5 quarts or 6 quarts. Let's see what we have on our dipping stick here. Yeah, right there, halfway down the hatch mark. Not quite full yet, but I do have some space to add some fortifying MOA. That's motor oil additive. Ow! It makes the good stuff even better. Dump that in there. Goodbye. Another 1/2 quart of oil. Makes the medicine go down. There we go. And I've also got to add some coolant because we did spill and use up some coolant. Another moment of full disclosure. My coolant is a universal gold color. And folks have noticed that I've mixed it with things like the Dex Cool Red. And I'm here to tell you that the coolant that I have is compatible with the red, which goes into the Chryslers and the GMs and various other manufacturers. It is compatible. Just because it is not the same color does not mean it's not up to par for the task, and it also does not mean that it will not mix well with the current red colored coolant that happens to be in the engine. See, the thing is, everybody gets really fixated on color. And it's not what it looks like on the outside, it's the quality of what's on the inside that really matters. And just in case you're wondering, that wasn't about coolant. Uh-oh, canceled. Shh. See, look, for example, I have Primo high quality BG engine coolant inside of the run-of-the-mill Prestone. Oh, look, it even says all vehicles, the Prestone bottle. So how can one decide that the interior is irrelevant based on what the exterior looks like? That'll cook your doodle. Think about that for a second. Now look, it's still red. Look at that. See that? Everything's fine. So let's get our funnel out of here for now. Put that over there. Let's get our cap back in position here. And let's go back into the cabin and restarting the engine. Make sure we don't have any codes, and top these fluids off, and this thing should be good to go. Beginning engine starting sequence now. Woohoo! She is alive. Good to go. Coolant's burbling there. Let's grab some lights and look down in the valley. Make sure that there's no coolant or oil leaking out at our repair. I don't expect to see anything down here, which there's nothing leaking out down here, so we don't have a major malfunction. Let's check for some seepages. And this thing is ready to go back out on the road. Okay, illuminator coming in. Looking down in the hole there. I do not see coolant or oil pooling up in the valley. That tells me that this repair is good to go. No leaks are present. This operation has been a success. We're ready to rock and roll. I need to shut her down, recheck engine oil level, set the tire pressure. I've got to clear those trouble codes out for the evap system. The part's been ordered, but it's 45 days out. We touched on that in a couple shorts about this car earlier in the week. So we will see this again for some re-diagnostic of that evap system, DTC. But until then, you guys, I think I have nothing more to offer you on this particular video other than a thank you for watching this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that in the comment section down below. Do not forget to tap that like button while you're down there. And most importantly, check out RainmanRazorRepairs.com and get yourself one of my custom fitted hats, t-shirts, mugs, and or stickers. You can also find A-Rod from Power Stroke Tech Talk with A-Rod. He's got a couple goodies in my store as well. And again, if you're looking for some high quality premium synthetic lubricants for your internal combustion engine, you can get those at my link at the in the description from AMSOIL direct. Nice and shiny. There we go. All right, guys, that's enough for me. No more shameless sales pitches. No more changing engine fluids. No more repairs in this particular car. Thanks again for watching, and most importantly, have yourselves a great day. See you guys later in a video, in a transmission, and a 3.6 liter into Chrysler. Whee! Can't do that, you're gonna ruin the engine. Nice and shiny.